Should be coming up here. Here we
Okay.
go.
This is Daryl Simmons, and you're watching the Break It Down show.
Yes, indeed. I have to tell you before we get started, Daryl, that when we started this series for getting the gig, one of my, I made a list of my dream guests, and you're
Okay.
definitely among them.
Well, I
So
appreciate that. I'm flattered.
we're going to talk about the influences that you had, but in the way of giving you a proper introduction for our viewers who may not know you, and there are many who know your
Oh,
work
yeah.
and know less
Yes,
about
sir.
you.
Absolutely.
Daryl Simmons, probably best known for creating the musical backdrop of the dance floors and the bedrooms of the 1990s. As a behind-the-scenes collaborator with his partners Babyface and L.A. Reid, Daryl Simmons is responsible for the hits and careers of artists to include Boyz II Men, Toni Braxton, Johnny Gill, TLC, Monica Maya, Drew Hill, so many others. But before all of that happened, uh, I am a drummer, so I have a soft spot for the drummers. And
Yep, me
Daryl
too.
Simmons, who was the drummer in a band called Tarnished Silver. Is that the name of the band?
Absolutely. I actually was a percussionist. I
Okay.
started out, Kenny and I met when I was 15, Kenny was 14,
Uh-huh.
and I actually played drums in a band with Kenny's older brother,
Well, that was
Michael
going to be my
Edmonds.
first question. Did you ever whoop Michael Edmonds' ass for
No,
trying to keep Kenny from you?
I just couldn't figure out why he wouldn't call Kenny because I knew Kenny. I heard about Kenny at
Yeah.
school, and we
Okay.
didn't have a singer, and I played drums. And so finally, happenstance, we had rehearsed at this house. We were outside. That was big back then. You rehearsed in the garage and all
Yeah.
that. And Kenny and another friend of ours, an annual officer, walked up and he goes, "Hey, who are you?" I said, "I'm Daryl." He goes, "I'm Kenny." I go, "Oh yeah." I said, "I heard about you. I'm in the brother. I'm in the group with your brother." He goes, "Yeah, I know." I said, "I've been trying to get your brother to get you to come sing. We don't have a singer." He goes, "Okay." So we talked, and he goes, "Well, why don't you join our band?" And I said, "Okay," because Kenny's brother was older than me, and
Okay.
the group was comprised of Michael and his friends, and I didn't hang out with them.
You were the
So
kid in that band.
I was the kid in that band. So I said, "Okay, that's cool." I quit the band that day, joined Kenny's band. So we're getting ready to fire our drummer, and you can be our drummer. I go, "Okay, that's cool." So we get to the very first rehearsal. He
Wait a
goes,
minute. That guy was the Pete Best of Indianapolis.
"He's the Pete Best. He is the Pete Best." Yes, I do. I remember his name, Tommy Tompkins.
All
And
right, Tommy Tompkins.
Tommy Tompkins. And I heard him play once and I felt like I was better than him. Not that I was good. I didn't know if I was good. I just felt like I was better than he was. And so we get to the first rehearsal and Kenny goes, I was thinking, since you have a big afro, I think you should come off the drums and stand up front with me and Emmanuel. I'm like, I said, "You got to be kidding. There's no way I can't dance. There's no way I'm going to stand up here." But no, no, no. It says it'll look better. It'll look better. I go, "Yeah, but Kenny, I'm terrified."
That
So
was
he
based completely on the volume of your natural.
of my natural, yeah. And so he wouldn't let it go. And I knew he wasn't going to let it go. And I didn't want to disappoint him because he did have a good idea. I said, "Okay, how can I make this happen and I'd be comfortable?"
Mhm.
So I remembered a friend of ours, another musician, had a conga drum. I said, "I'm going to borrow Dion's conga drum
All
and
right.
put it in front of me, and
Yeah.
that'll make me feel better. I'm kind of hiding, and I'll kind of just kind of fake it, you know." And so, long story short, I ended up becoming a percussionist. I actually became pretty good. And once I discovered Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I saw Philip Bailey, and I
Yeah.
saw Maurice White, and I saw Sheila E. And I loved my brother loved Santana, and Santana had percussionists. And I said, "Okay, that's my gig." So
Yeah.
I practiced, and I got really, really good. I played on some of the early records, and so that became my gig because Kenny, I became a pretty decent percussionist, later on in our career. So
Yeah.
that's how that kind of started.
But as a percussionist in that setting, uh, you were really just trying to give yourself a crutch
Oh,
to
it was a
uh,
crutch. It was total crutch,
to be the
total
singer.
crutch. Yep, I was, I was shy. I knew I couldn't dance, so I'm not going to be doing out there doing any steps because I to this day I can't dance. So it was truly a crutch, but I actually fell in love with it, and I bought another Kuna. Then I ended up buying a set of four, so I was really secure because I was hiding behind this wall, of
Yeah.
my but I was playing for real. I wasn't faking it. At that point, I wanted to be good. I practiced. I studied the Santana records. I listened to Sheila E. playing timbales, and I ended up playing all that stuff like Philip and Maurice, and that was my gig, and I loved it. It was fun because I didn't have to
Yeah.
be out front. I didn't have to do the choreography. I could just stand over there on the side behind my rig, and it was fun. It was fun playing. I do miss playing. Yeah.
I don't want to be name drop. Yes, I do want to
Mm.
be name droppy. Uh, I was with Sheila E. inadvertently last
Oh
weekend.
wow! Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love
I'm dear
Sheila E.
friends with
Man.
her brother Juan, and he
Juan,
got
now
married.
Juan, that dude,
Yeah.
that dude is bad.
He can
People
play
don't
the
know.
congas.
That
Yeah.
dude is bad. But people don't know, like you said, sort of behind the scenes people. But Juan, that's a bad dude right there,
He's a
man. He
bad
is.
dude.
I love him. He is bad, and they're both bad. Their family. I listened to her dad's early records. I went to see George Duke once years ago, and she was playing
Yes.
percussion, and man,
Yes.
she was killing, man. I love it. Such a big influence on me, on my playing, and wanting to play that gig and be good. I really worked hard at practicing and wanted to be good. You know.
You know what's pretty novel is that you said back then, people used to rehearse in the garage, and
Oh yeah. Yep.
it's still a thing, Daryl. It's just most people who don't have all that hardware hanging behind them like you do. You got other
Oh
places
yeah,
you can
yeah.
rehearse at now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I
That
was
was
in
that
I
was.
was in rehearsal in a garage the night before last.
Oh my God. That was it. I mean, but I remember Charlie Wilson saying you could go on every street and there was a band. That was Indianapolis. Where we
Yeah.
lived, you walk the next street, you could hear somebody rehearsing, you'd run, see who's rehearsing. And that was the thing back then. That's what,
Yeah. Please
that was the
expand on
thing.
that. I want to
Well,
talk about
it's
Indianapolis because Indianapolis is a lesser known. The funk lives in all these places, man. And
oh, it
for you
does.
to
It
say
does.
this, so talk about your upbringing in Indianapolis and the influences that were around you back then that
Uh
touched you.
Indianapolis was, I mean, back then it just wasn't, there weren't big influences. You were influenced by the other musicians. Like I started playing drums because
Mhm.
a guy down at the end of my street named Bill Cox played drums in a band with Melvin Edmonds, who ended up being
Okay.
in After Seven. See, those
Yeah.
guys were older. So I would go to the end of the street on my bike and I would watch him in the garage. And he was so good. And finally one day he goes, "Why don't you come up here?" And I went up there and he sat me behind the drums and showed me how to hold the sticks and everything. And that was it. That year I asked for a set of drums and I got a set of drums from JC Penney's. And but
Hmm.
in Indianapolis, it was musicians that you looked up because guys played instruments and they were
Yeah.
good. They were really good. So when you ran across somebody, go, man, that guy's good. I'm going to watch him. But there wasn't a big act that had gotten big out of Indianapolis. It was clubs. You go in a club and you watch somebody play and you
Yeah.
identified who those really great musicians were. And they inspired you. That's how we got inspired by guys that were, Kenny, every so many years, Kenny will be talking about old stuff and he'll go, "Yeah, you ever thought about, why this happened for us?" And I'll be like, "No, I don't really know, Kenny, because we were not the ones most likely to succeed. We were not. There were guys in that town, man, that were incredible, that we looked up to.
Yeah.
And so, Kenny would often say, I don't know why this happened for us. I'm like, I don't know, because I know I was not likely to succeed. I was kind of down. I mean, I didn't even really know really kind of what my talent was. I knew what Kenny's talent was. I identified that the day I met him. I said, he's talented. I love music, but he's talented.
Wow.
So we were influenced by musicians in that city. We took pride in practicing our instrument. We wanted to be good on our instrument. And then there was a guy, we were in a band called Manchild, and the leader of that band's name was Reggie Griffin.
Okay.
And Reggie was a multi-talented, played guitar, keyboard, and saxophone, and you wouldn't know what was his main instrument. You wouldn't know. There's no
Yeah.
way you could tell. He was that talented, that gifted. He played multiple instruments. He was recording. We get to rehearsal, and he had a big 8-track Tascam 8-track reel to reel, and we walk in, to like, what's that? Oh, it's just something I wrote. It's like, well, who's playing all the instruments? And he's like, me. It's like, what?
Man.
So this guy was the guy that Kenny and I gravitated towards our songwriting, our recording, uh, playing. He was a virtuoso on the guitar. Kenny watched him and learned. A lot of people don't know that Kenny's a guitar player.
Oh, he's a fantastic
He's
guitar
a
player.
fantastic guitar. He's one of my favorite guitar players.
Yeah.
People don't know that Lionel Richie's a saxophone player. That's his
Right.
gig. That's what Lionel played in the Commodores.
Yeah.
So that was Indianapolis. You played in the clubs. Midnight Star came and played in the clubs. The Deal came and played in the same clubs, and everybody rotated, and everybody would go see everybody. And that was back then, and that's how we learned, playing in the
And you
clubs
had
six,
great big
six nights
bands
a
with
week.
lots of musicians.
Lots of musicians play 6 nights a week, probably from what 10 to 2, 10 to 3. Even
Man.
if Monday night, two people in the audience, 4 sets. You had to play 4 sets, two people.
Wow.
Wednesday, ladies' night starts to pick up, and then by the weekend, it was on by the weekend. So
Yeah.
that was our learning ground. That was
You got
what
lots of reps in.
we got lots of reps. And then on the side, during the day, we would write. We would write songs. We would work
Mhm.
on just our songwriting craft. We just loved writing. Kenny and I loved writing. We did that every day. Kenny had a guitar around his neck every day, no matter where we were. We just wrote songs. That's
So
all we
even
did.
back then, I mean, you're talking about you guys met in around the ninth grade,
Yep, I was
ninth or
ninth
tenth grade.
grade. He was
Mhm.
8th grade. I was 15. He was 14.
Okay.
And I sort of aspired to write, but when I got with him, he was writing.
Mm.
I was dabbling. I was trying to figure it out. But my being with him, of course, that elevated
Yeah.
my writing. Just being together all the time, watching him, following his lead, uh, and that's basically how we ended up being successful songwriters. That was our formula.
Yeah.
Where Kenny would have an idea. Okay, I got this idea. I go, okay, and I'd sit in the chair just like this, and he'd go through some ideas. And I go, mm, mm, okay, that right there.
Hmm.
He go, that's a record. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's start on that. Okay, cool. And so I was describing it as he's driving the bus and I'm riding shotgun. Where are we going?
Okay. So
Where,
now
where
in the process, you identify something as okay, let's work on this. Now
yeah,
what? I mean, who does what in terms of melody, song structure, lyrics?
Kenny. Kenny does it. I call him Mr. Mom. He's the master of melody. He is, I don't know anybody. I know great songwriters.
Man.
I'm not dismissing anybody, but Kenny he hears that melody, and that's the person who go, okay. He goes, that's good.
Yeah.
Because his thing, our way was, and he recently said this, he goes, do you realize that we've done the same thing the same way since we started? Same formula, same process. Kenny will have a list of ideas, and he'll play them for me,
Yeah.
and I'll listen, and something will hit me. I go, that's a record. That's a really good idea. If something doesn't hit me, I go, he'll go, yeah, it's just okay. I go, yeah, it's just okay. So he always
Man,
has a
that's a lot of
melody.
trust.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because it's honest. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's very honest. He knows that. He's gonna be honest. It's not about ego. It's not about who wrote it. It's always about what's best for
The
the
best
song.
idea.
What's
Hmm.
the best idea? And Kenny has the best ideas. I've had, I'll tell you the two ideas that I've had in our writing. I've done stuff, of course, on my own. The first
Hmm.
idea I had was a song called In the Mood by the Whispers.
Uh-huh.
And the second idea, I had lyrics to Rock With You. And
Okay.
I wrote them on a napkin. Freddie Jackson had a song called Rock Me Tonight. And
Uh-huh.
I said, you know, that would be so much colder if it was Rock With You. And so I wrote some lyrics, and Kenny came and said, what's that? So that's some lyrics. I said, I wrote some lyrics for a song called Rock With You because Freddie Jackson has Rock Me. And I said, but it's a little soft.
Yeah.
And, Kenny did his whole magic dust, and next thing it was Rock With You for Bobby Brown. But
Yeah.
and I realized that that was my role for years. I recently told somebody I couldn't figure out really what my talent was. And then as we matured and started writing really heavily, I realized that my talent was to support his talent.
Mm-hmm.
That was my job. That was my role, was to support his talent.
Yeah.
In any way, whatever that meant. You know what I mean?
But
So,
mostly by being a candid and honest sounding board.
oh, all of that, all of
Yeah.
that. But then, writing, my contribution was always lyrical. I'd have a few melodies, but it was mostly once I saw where he was going,
Yeah.
then I said, okay, I can help connect those dots in that story. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where that was my big contribution was once he said, okay, this is where we're going in the bus. Okay, well, let me connect these dots and help us get there. And so that was always my contribution. But Kenny was always musical, always musical. He goes, we have to make them love it as soon as the music starts. Before they hear any singing, we have to make them love it. And that was the
Mm-hmm.
policy. As soon as you hear dun 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 da da dun da dun da dun 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 dun, I'm in love with it. I don't
Yeah.
have to hear no singing. Soon as that needle drops, it's over.
Oh,
And that's
fantastic.
and that is our policy. So we can make it do that. We know the lyrics are going to be great and the story's going to be great. But if that melody in the beginning grabs you before you hear one lyric,
Yeah.
it's a wrap. And that's Kenny's,
Fantastic.
that's his, that's his genius. Not that he doesn't like that word, but that's where he's just so incredible to me. You know what I mean? And we'll leave. We'll leave it. I'll go out to Los Angeles and like, okay, let's go to Johnny Rockets, get something to eat. So, okay, we'll sit there. He goes, hum the melody. If I can hum it, we're good. If I've forgotten it, okay, we'll start on something
Yes.
else.
This is great because I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of times you want to have a process that you can stick to that's
Oh
got
yeah.
these places where you understand what you're dealing with,
Hmm.
you
And
know?
I know every songwriter or songwriting team
As yeah.
has Jimmy and Terry, or whether it's Elton and Bernie,
Hmm.
like Bernie saying, "Hey, Elton, these lyrics need music," you know. And
Yes.
so everybody has their formula. There's no right way or wrong way. However you get there, that's the right way.
Well, there's
However
definitely
you can
some
get
right
there.
ways,
Oh yeah, a lot of right
and
ways. A lot of right
and
ways.
if you stumble upon your right way, then we get to all love the magic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've had tons of stuff that didn't work. It just you throw it away. Kenny's quick to throw it. He'll throw away stuff that's, I'm like, damn, really? And he'll this is what he'll say. After seven, they can have it.
Mm.
I said, okay, their timeless album, After Seven, it's the songs that Kenny go, it's okay, they can have it. There's one song he regretted, which was called I Want You. And
Uh-huh.
he kind of let that go, and they killed it. They
Yeah.
killed it. Melvin, before he passed away, I love him. He really he just killed it. Him and Kevon killed that record. Great album. Great
Yeah.
songs that we came. And Kitty said, "You realize if this was the '90s, this album would be triple platinum." I go, "I know. There are some really great songs on that album. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
heard it, but it
Of
is
course.
wonderful. It is wonderful. It is wonderful." That's Kenny's way. He'll be like, "We'll write something else." I go, "Okay." And After Seven,
Yeah.
to record it, and it'll fit them a little bit better, you know. So that's the formula, man. It never changed, never
Do
wavered,
you
never varied.
when you write, do you put things away and wait for the artist to show up for that song, or do you, when you create that melody that grabs you, is there an identification for who needs this song? Do you hear that immediately?
Every now and then,
Yeah.
every now and then it'll say, "Okay, that sounds like Tony," or "That sounds like this person." Every now and then, but
Yeah.
uh,
Because you brought up the melody for Can We Talk, and that does grab you, but it doesn't immediately grab you and say, we should give this one to Johnny Gill. You know,
no,
it
not at
just
all.
it
Uh-uh.
thank goodness Tevin Campbell was right then and right
Yeah,
there.
he was.
And
Yeah, he was right there. And but a lot of times, you kind of know. Kenny, of course, has more of his finger on the pulse of it, and I'll
yeah,
kind of co-sign. Go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, he could do that. Oh yeah, she could do that. You know what I mean? So, You just kind of write. You write, and then the song sort of will tell you.
Hmm.
The song will tell you. And I think most songwriters, I never like, oh, I got to write the song for this person. Usually you write, and then you say, somebody will say, hey, do you have something for Aretha Franklin? Do you have something for this person? You kind of go through your whatever, go, yeah, I could, yeah, maybe Aretha could do this. And you kind of then tailor it towards that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So other than a few projects where you had to write something for a situation, most of the time you just write. You write something, you feel good, you just leave it on the desktop.
Yeah.
And if you get a call or, go, yeah, I think I may have something. Then you listen to it and see if you can kind of maybe curtail it a little bit for that person. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
that's been our process. That's been our way. Everybody, like I said, works differently, but that's been our way. And then, of course, that's my way when I would work by myself. It was the same formula that Kenny and I would use. It didn't change for me when I was working by myself at all. You
I
know.
see.
So yeah, that's how that worked out.
That sounds pretty good because it's nice to have a pile of demos that you know are strong, and then you can select from that. I feel like that gives a signature sound, which you guys definitely had something where you could hear the sound in an artist and go, "Oh yeah, of
Hmm.
course."
Yeah.
You know?
One thing that you said was, for me, of course, Kenny's a more productive writer. My writing kind of comes in spurts where I would have only maybe two to three really good song ideas that I'd be working on at one time. So I
Hmm.
didn't have like this whole folder of all these songs. I've seen guys have that. And whenever I would do seminars, guys would go, "Hey, I have 100 songs," and I'm going, "Okay, that's pretty cool." I
Yeah,
said, and I'd
it
say,
is
"Well,
cool. Any
yeah," I
good
said,
ones?
"There you go." I say, "Well, how many do you think I have?" "Oh my God, you probably have thousands of songs." I said, "Right now, I have three." I said, "Out of those three, one of them is the real song." I said,
Yeah.
"So take your 100, divide it in half, divide that 50 in half, and then give me your top 10.
Mm,
Now break that top 10 down to your top five." I said,
okay.
"You might have one great idea out of five because it doesn't work that way. The average," I said, "the way that we see it, because the only ones that count are the hits.
Yeah.
I could have
Goodness.
quantity, but only ones that count for us are the hits. That's all that matters are the good ones.
Well,
It's
let,
all
let
that
me ask you
matters."
this then. So you have three songs, let's say, on your desktop right now.
Hmm.
Does that mean that you have developed in all of those reps, what you've developed is the filter?
Hmm.
Because you hear an idea and you go, nope, moving on.
Well, there's parts of it, yep, and they'll move on. Kenny will move on, and you kind of keep dabbling through that until you hit on the real one.
Hmm.
I was watching it's been a couple of years ago, watching the Eagles documentary, and it was so great to see the early development of songs. You could hear the hint that it
Hmm.
was coming. Wasn't quite a hit, wasn't a big song, but as the years progress and you start to kind of keep chiseling at that sound, you go, bam, they hit on it. Hotel California, what all the Don Henley is one of my favorite songwriters. You find
Sure.
it, and like
Yeah.
Kenny will say, you have to get through the failures to get through the successes,
Hmm.
because 100 songs, like I said, like you said, how many of them are hits? Because the only
Yeah.
thing that matters is one. That's all that matters is one, and the rest of them, okay, they have
Yeah.
no, you know, Kenny's not big about going back. That dude, it'll be something I think is kind of strong. He'll be like, "Nah, I'll write something new." I'm like,
Moving
"Okay,
on.
yep, I'm with you." And I learned that from him too. I
Yeah.
learned that in my writing is, it's got to be there. If it's not all the way there, I'll write something new. Let's move
Oh
on. I'll,
man.
I'll, I'll write something better. And you end up writing something better. Then you go back to listen to that and go, "Yeah, it was okay. Had a good idea, but wasn't all the way there. Wasn't quite there."
Yeah.
So, but like you said, you have to be honest with music. And you have to be honest with music. Yeah, you're writing it, but it's going out to the world. And that's what you have to understand. Once it goes, it's no longer yours. So you have to make sure Like Kenny would say, okay, like if we had one, he goes, okay, let's look at the lyrics. He goes, read it. So I'll read it. I said, yeah, I said, we understand it, but I don't know if everybody else is gonna understand. So I said, let's get a little more clever. It's like, okay, how can we get clever? A little more clever in saying it where the world understands it. Kenny and I understand it, but it has to apply to everyone. So Kenny's ultimate word is it has to be universal.
Hmm.
It has to be universal. That means end of the road has to apply a breakup, a death, whatever that is that's at the end of the road, that has to apply to everyone in the world. So that when they hear it, oh my God, this is me and my boyfriend breaking up. This is me and whoever, my best friend, or this is what, you know, and originally the song was kind of inspired through Kimmy had just been through a divorce. I've been through a divorce. That's kind of the premise in the beginning. But at the end, you got to make it apply to everyone. And Kenny would say it has to be universal.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
yeah, that song in particular, I mean, I think I can speak for most of us. We've applied it to, my cousin
Hey,
died. It doesn't matter. The end of any road.
hey, Kenny is doing an NCAA March Madness commercial something
Yeah.
at end of the road because your
Uh-huh.
tournament's over. You're going
Time for you
home.
to go home.
It's the end of the road.
Yeah.
So you have to make it apply to everyone because once it goes, it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the world. And so we would
Yeah.
we would check it. We would check it, read that lyric, sing it, and see if it, applies to everybody. Because that's what you want. You want
Yeah.
the greatest feeling for me as a songwriter is pulling up next to somebody in a car and they got their radio cranked and they are just singing End of the Road at the top of their lungs, just going
And
in.
mean it. And
And
mean
yep,
it.
and I'll just kind of look over and go
Uh-huh.
and take off. That for me is like, or any song that we've done, to see somebody singing a lyric that you wrote or seeing how it's affecting them. That's for me, that's the big payoff for me, you
Fantastic.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
all good.
Let's just to rewind for a second. I wanted to you brought up Man Child. And Man Child, when you hear if you guys go back and listen to Man Child records, you can definitely hear the Earth, Wind and Fire influence. You
A
know,
little bit. Yeah, there was
you,
one ballad that was, yeah,
the,
influenced by Earth, Wind&
that
and
that
Fire.
one ballad, I mean, Philip Bailey could have sung it,
Yeah,
I
he could have
mean,
sung it. Yeah, it was influenced. Kenny and I didn't write on that. They had already written that and recorded it
okay.
when we got in that band. And a great
But when
song
you
too. I
were
love that song. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you were in that band, though, you could tell that there was the collaboration of many musicians. There was orchestration. There were things that we musicians had to think about. And one of the things that I
Yeah.
admire about your journey with Kenny is that you guys are musicians.
We're musicians. Musicians first. That was Kenny didn't want to be an artist. Kenny wasn't the singer in that band.
Yeah.
We had a lead singer, great front man named Flash Farrell. He was like David Lee Roth, had the tight jumpsuits and the karate kicks, and he was
Uh-huh.
great in front of a crowd. He was the front man. And Kenny played rhythm guitar, Reggie Griffin played lead guitar, I played percussion. It was a
Yeah.
great band of musicians. What we discovered later on in our careers after we became successful writers was, in one sense, the musicians were almost too good. They
Huh.
were they were so talented, and it was like it got in the way of the songwriting. Now we
Wow.
didn't know that back then, but we discovered that as we became, commercial successful songwriters, that the song, if you listen to that album, it was like only a couple of things maybe had some commercial overtones because back then musicians wanted to display their musicianship,
Yeah.
how good they were.
Yeah.
Listen to this riff, listen to this solo. Well, the song doesn't really need that. So why don't we, and that's the
Take it
problem
easy.
with Take It Easy. That's the problem with that band is that we didn't grasp at the time the top 40 songs that we were actually playing in the club. We should
Uh-huh.
have followed that pattern of the Barcades, of the Gap Band, of LTD. We should have followed that real R&B pattern. But
Yeah.
if you listen to it, it's kind of a little all over the place a little bit. It's really hard for me to listen to. It's just it's not that it's not good. It's just we didn't really grasp onto the songs that we were actually playing in the club.
That's
You know,
fantastic. That is
you
so
know,
good. I appreciate that a lot because, man,
you
everybody
know.
says, when you're talking about getting the gig, oh, yeah, you got to listen to this drummer. He's magnificent. And man, I can name 100 drummers way better
I
than
know you
me.
can.
But
Yeah, I know.
every reason why I'm busy is because I'm trying to just make that dance floor
You
move.
you just trying to keep the gig and keep that pocket. That's your
Yeah.
job. You know
Just
what I
sit in the
mean?
pocket.
Sit in the
Other
pocket,
people want to
lay
do stuff.
it. We used to call lay in the cut, lay
Hmm.
in the cut and play that backbeat.
Yeah.
And so, and we learned that later, but we were young. We didn't know, so we can't say that's why. But we just realized that later in our careers when we look back at it,
Yeah.
so we don't know how we missed it because we played those songs in the club. We were a
Yeah.
top 40 band. And we throw in an original every now and then, but we played all the top 40 hits. It would have been better for us to actually copy something.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So, and like you said, that's why the ballad, especially for you, was the most successful because it had remnants of Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Yeah.
which who were very successful.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it was just something that was missed. It was a great club band. We probably learned more in that band, even though it wasn't real success.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of great experience for Kenny and I, being around better musicians than we were, and it was definitely a learning ground. A big, I still to this day look up to Reggie Griffin. Reggie Griffin arranged "I Feel for You" by Shaka Khan. That's how
Oh,
great he
terrific.
was. He went on to do that. He did all the instrumentation. If you listen to it,
Okay.
all the sequencers,
Yeah.
that's Reggie Griffin's claim to fame. And he did an amazing job on that.
Well,
Amazing
okay.
job.
Now that you mentioned that, I want our just to give our viewers some context. I Feel for You by Shaka Khan was the all-star of all-star attempts. At that moment, they were like, okay, let's get a Prince song.
Hmm.
And then what else can we do that's the best of the best? Oh, okay. Why don't we get Melly Mel to rap on it?
Right.
And we'll get Stevie to play harmonica on it. And we'll get Shabba-Doo in the video. So they held back absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And
They
what's
just said,
ironic
let's throw the
is,
best of the best at this. And then they got
yeah,
Reggie to do the arrangement.
Reggie did the arrangement. Actually, Reggie was doing the rap, and they replaced him with Melly Mel.
Yeah.
But Reggie
But I
had done
mean,
a pretty good
still,
job on the rap. But still, yeah, and that tells you, if you go back and listen to that when you get a chance,
yeah,
that's Reggie Griffin's musicianship.
terrific.
All those instruments, that's Reggie Griffin's musician. Amazing, amazing musician who, like I said, I credit so much of my base of rhythm, timing, from him.
Your hit making education.
There you go. He was, for both Kenny and I though. And so we
Yeah.
took that, and as we grew and became producers and writers, okay, now we had a good base. He taught us a really, really good base, and we took it from there and did our own thing. But he, to this day, I love that guy, man. I love that. I owe him so much. And he
Yeah.
went on to do stuff up at Sugar Hill with the Sugar Hill Gang and Grandmaster Fat Flash and the Furious Five. He did a lot of stuff up there, with Sylvia,
Uh-huh.
with Sugar Hill Records back in the day. A lot of records that he even said it once, they didn't get credited for. He just go in and lay the shit down and didn't even
Yeah.
get credit, because
Yeah.
that was Reggie, and he could do it like that. So he was, just amazing, amazing guy to this day. Yeah, played with the Isleys
Fantastic.
for a while. He actually played in Kenny's band, in the '90s, late '90s. Yeah,
Okay.
Kenny hired him. He was on the road with Kenny during the Whip Appeal tour, I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere around in there. He played with Kenny for a long time.
Are you
Yeah,
still in touch?
every now and then, yeah, we go to Indianapolis. We may go by there and,
Okay.
holler at him. He may come to Kenny's show sometimes, and it's always great to see him. I mean, when I'm with him, I'm still like, I don't know. I get choked up because I love that guy so much. I
Yeah.
learned so much. I feel like I owe him so much. You know, and
Fantastic.
yeah, great guy, great musician. Yep.
I so two things I'll bring up because this is what I love about musicians. Vince Gill, who's now the singer for the Eagles, took Glenn
Oh, I
Fry's
didn't know
place
that. I
in the
didn't know that.
band.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I like Ben Steele.
I like Vince Gill too. One of the things I like the most about
Wow.
Vince Gill is he never cared about being an artist. He never cared
Yeah.
about the limelight. He just wanted to hang around with musicians. He
That's
was
cool.
like,
I
I
hadn't heard
love
that.
making
That is
music.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a cool guy. I did a Warner Chappell sent their writers, their pop writers to Nashville to
Uh-huh.
pair up with their. It was me, Jewel, Vince Gill, Amy Grant. I forget. Nothing came out of it, but just the experience of
Yeah.
being around them and seeing how they work. They get up, they start working at 9, 4 o'clock. They're done. They go home and paint the house. The whole
Yeah.
way of, But it was. I remember meeting him. He was really really cool. I loved meeting him. Yes, sir. That's cool. I didn't
That
know that. Man.
that's fantastic and not
Yeah.
surprising.
Yeah. Great. I love Ben Skill. Great voice. That's cool.
Yeah. My Reggie in my life is a drummer named Rich Ogden, and he's been in the Whispers
Mm.
for about 35 years.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. He
Man.
and so I'm gonna go back to the beginnings of your career because
Okay.
I want to talk about when you and Kenny moved to Los Angeles
Okay.
because everybody knows about your Atlanta success, but your Los
Yep.
Angeles kind of
Mm-mm.
foundation
People don't know.
was, yeah. So talk about that. Moving to LA, what
Well,
precipitated your move?
Kenny had left Manchild because
Hmm.
Manchild wasn't going anywhere. And Kenny said, "Hey, this isn't going anywhere. This band has a black cloud following it. Everything that's supposed to happen doesn't happen." So Kenny quits. And then he kind of got in another band for a little while with his brother Kevin, who's Kevin, but I call him Kevin. Uh, and that didn't last. So he ends up going to Michigan to join a top 40 band called the Crowd Pleasers.
Hmm.
And so he goes up there to Michigan. Um, he starts playing with them. He's making pretty good money. So I was still in Manchild, trying to hang in, figuring out what I'm doing. It was a blow for me when Kenny quit because me and Kenny had been together since I was 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's been a while. I was kind of like a fish out of water. What am I going to do?
Hmm.
And so he would go and come back home. I'd pick him up at the bus station and he was doing pretty well. He'd give me some money and this, and I'd take him back to the bus station. So one day he calls, says, "Hey, I'm in Cincinnati and I'm working with this group called The Deal, writing some songs." I go, "Okay, that's cool." He goes, "You remember Bo?" I said, "Yeah, Midnight Star, Bo, our buddy." Yeah, because Midnight Star would come to the clubs. He
Yeah.
goes, "Yeah, me and Bo were kind of writing." I said, "Okay, that's cool." And so then he kind of ended up kind of hanging out there. And then he says, "Yeah, The Deal, they asked me to join their band." I said, "Wow, okay, that's cool." And he goes, we did an album. He said, "I wanted to know if you wanted to come on as a player and musician." I'm like, "When do I leave?" So I leave Indianapolis. Kenny and LA come pick me up and take me back to Cincinnati and start rehearsing. The Deal had an album, so they were rehearsing for a tour. And so we were touring, did a pretty good tour with Luther and DeBarge and The Deal. The Deal was the opening act.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun, very successful tour. The song was called Body Talk. The song did really well, really, really well. And so Kenny had co-written some songs on there, really, really good. It was a really good album, really solid. And at some point, I actually recently asked him, I said, "Whose idea was it to go to LA? Was it yours or LA?" He goes, "I don't know." He said, "It could have been LA's idea, but I don't know." I said, "I know you had your car packed first." Kenny he
He
was
was ready to
ready to,
go.
he had a Chevy Nova and he packed that thing to the gills, man. But he said, well, Dick Griffey, who ran Solar Records, said,
Mhm.
"You can make more money on accident in LA than you can on purpose in Cincinnati. So y'all need to be out here."
Man.
And that was it. And we went. I didn't go at first. I was even asking him, when did I come? I don't even remember. I think he and LA went out first and set up shop and you know what I'm saying, got the feel of whatever. Then eventually I came and we set up shop in an apartment where everybody's staying in the apartment. I slept on the floor where the equipment was, in the
Hmm.
equipment in the writing room, and we just started writing. It was just started writing. So at some point, Kenny and they said, "Well, you guys are going to have to go back. This is costing so much money, and we'll call you when it's time to come back." So we all went back. All the other guys went back, and LA and Kenny stayed and kind of, grinding, trying to knock on doors, trying to get it going.
Yeah.
And so Kenny calls one night, says, "Hey, uh, LA and I did this song called Rock Steady for the Whispers, and
Hmm.
it's going to come out." He said, "They recorded your song called In the Mood. Remember I told you I had an idea for a
Yeah.
song called In the Mood?" Kenny did his magic thing and, made it better, of course. I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah." So, I think, something's going to happen. So he'll probably
Come
bring
on
you
back
back pretty
out.
soon. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was like that. And you get back because, it's going to happen. So Rocksteady, of course, blew up.
Yes.
The phone starts ringing. I get on a plane. I go back, and it was a whirlwind. When I say that, I mean every day. "Hey man, James Ingram's coming by. He's gonna listen to songs. Hey man, Sheena Easton's coming by. She's gonna listen to some songs. Hey man, this guy named Johnny Gill, he's gonna come by. We're gonna play My for him. Okay,
Yeah.
hey man, these little boys are gonna come by. Let's play Dial My Heart for him." I mean, every day, Kenny and I would stand there, we'd sing the melody and give them the lyrics, we'd sing it. Hey, this girl, she's a cheerleader for the Lakers. She's Paula Abdul. She's gonna come by. We're gonna play Knocked Out for her. Like, okay, let's play Knocked Out. And we had this big dry erase board, and that was a list of songs because we were
Yeah.
just a writing machine. There were lists of songs. Kenny's going to keep this. This is going to be this. This is going to be that. And LA would erase it. Now we're going to give this person, this person. And man, that thing started and it did not stop. It,
Wow.
I mean, it would be like go in the studio and then Kenny and I would stay and write. LA would go to the studio and produce. Then Kenny and LA would go to the studio. I'd go to another studio. And it just was this. I didn't even want to be a producer. I was just writing.
Yeah.
And we were in the studio with Karyn White and we were working on Superwoman and it was almost
Yes.
finished. It was almost finished. And I was sitting back on the couch in my usual position. And they look back there and go, "Hey man, you gotta help finish some of this shit, man. We gotta go over here with Pebbles. You gotta finish this shit." I'm like, "Finish what? You know what to do. You've been sitting back here all this time, man. Get up here and finish this shit. Finish the ad libs with Karen."
We got to
I'm
go.
like, "Yeah, we gotta go." I'm like, "Are you serious?" They got up, walked out the door,
All
and
yours.
John Gass, my engineer, said, "Let's go, D. You know what to
Yeah.
do." I'm like, "Oh my God." And that was my first production was the Vamp on out. That was my, and
Of
from that point,
Superwoman.
yeah. And then from that
Wow.
point, oh my God, I earned my stripes. They sent me with the boys, which was like pulling teeth. They sent
Yeah.
me with Paula, which Paula wasn't, that great, So I went with Paula,
Hey, we
sat.
love Paula. We're big fans of Paula, but
Yeah, I
she
love Paula
needed
too.
the help of good
Yeah, she needed
songwriters. She
the
needed to
yeah,
be
she needed
nurtured.
yeah, she needed the help. So I earned my stripes. So I did all that stuff while they did Sheena Easton and did Pebbles and did
Yeah.
whatever they were doing. They sent me down here, go do this. I'm like, okay, okay, I'll do it. And once I grasped it, I said, okay, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it to their satisfaction because they were
They set
perfectionists.
the bar high.
They set the bar. So LA go, I remember he
Yeah.
said, "Now if you're gonna produce, you can't be sitting back there all quiet and shit. You gotta speak up. You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta direct the ship." I said, "Okay, I got it." So everything I sat back there and watched them do,
Hmm.
I just
You just
emulated
did.
it. I
Yeah.
just emulated what I had been sitting back there from the backseat driver watching. And I
But
applied it to, what
you
I was
had
doing.
years of reps together,
Oh
though.
yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you didn't. It was not like you observed the standard from that couch. You just observed the last couple weeks from that couch.
Oh,
You
I,
know,
I I observed it for a long time
long time. Yeah.
going to the studio. So naturally, when they said okay, I said, I'll do what they do.
Yeah.
That's what I so that's what I did. And I would go back, they'll go, okay, you're cool. Have Karen do this or have them do that. I said, okay, you're close. Okay, I take it back, go back in, and then I take it to them and go, okay, you're good. You in there. That's finished. Okay, go down here and do this. Okay, cool. So it was the greatest apprenticeship that anybody could ever have.
Yeah.
It was just I learned from the best.
It's
you know
crazy just to hear what it was and your
Yeah,
process for that.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
was it was crazy.
you can't really it yes, it's appropriate to call it an apprenticeship, but you were there the whole time.
I was there
You
the whole
couldn't
time. Yeah,
somebody
I
couldn't
was there.
create that for you. You know, it only worked because you had been in it.
Oh, absolutely. I soaked it all up. You
Yeah,
can't help but you can't help but pick up something if you're soaking that up every day.
every day.
Every single man. One time I think Kenny said, "How the hell?" I have a plaque somewhere in my storage where we had in the top 10, I think we had 4 or 5
Come on.
songs. And it's
Yeah,
like, how the hell did we? I was like,
yeah.
I don't know. We took 2 days off a year, Thanksgiving and Christmas. That was it.
Wow.
We go home from Los Angeles one time a year, one trip. I asked my mom, "You want me Thanksgiving or Christmas?" That's your choices.
Yeah,
Because other than that, I'm saying
grinding.
to the grindstone grinding, like it was actually insane. We sometimes we had 3 studios mixing because LA would mix at Larrabee.
Uh,
We may be at Silver Lake recording, and then we may be out in the valley at Ilumba or Can Am. I'm telling you, man, it was insane, nonstop,
fantastic.
nonstop, man. But I loved it. It was so much fun just to wake up and write. No
Yeah.
responsibilities, no kids back then, no wives. Songwrite, let's write. And so that was the greatest joy. That was the most fun for me in my career. Was just writing with no restrictions, no responsibilities. No big homes, all this stuff to be responsible for.
Mm.
That
And
was a
getting to
fun
do it every
time.
day.
Every single day, all day, as Chili would say, all day, every day,
Every day. Yeah.
all day, every
So,
day.
Karen White's gonna be our guest next week.
Oh,
Uh,
cool. Yeah, yeah.
so it's
I
awesome
saw
that
her.
Superwoman was your
Yeah,
first.
yeah. I saw her not long ago in the Sky Club. We sat down and
Okay.
talked for a while. Yeah, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, tell her I said hey when you see her. She was
Definitely.
fun. That girl's fun. Her and I did backgrounds on Fairweather Friend.
Huh.
Fair
So
weather friend till the end. That's our
keep
claim to fame together.
keep going in the LA experience because we're going to transition to Atlanta here to close the show up. But we
So
had
LA, we stayed there, grinding, grinding, grinding. Everything's looking really good. And one night, Kenny and LA come in and they're talking, and LA's pissed off. He's like slamming stuff. We're like, what's happening? He's like, man, we're making these record companies all kinds of money, making them millions of dollars, and they giving us peanuts. We need to start our own shit. It was like,
here we go.
okay. Yeah, here we go. It was like, okay, that was the first bug. And so Kenny and LA started brainstorming. I'm just kind of a lot of the business I wasn't privy to. They would let me know this is what we're doing. I'm like, okay, I'm going. Okay, yeah, I'm in. But they would work it out. So next thing I know, pack your shit. We out of here. We're going to Atlanta. I'm like, Atlanta? Oh, okay. It could have been Nebraska. It could have been Wyoming. I was
Yeah.
going. And so they came up, and it really wasn't a plan. It was not a plan at all. And so it was just like that, no plan. They flew down, checked out where they wanted to live, and then they flew back. Okay, pack your shit. We out of here. And so they came around to my little apartment, came around to KO's apartment. We put our little stuff on the truck, and next thing I know, we're going to Atlanta.
Literally
Set
hit the
up.
road.
Yep, we flew. The truck went. We flew, and had to figure out, what part of town, where to live. It was just a whim. There was no plan. And
Mhm.
even when we got here to Atlanta, I remember Pebbles, LA. So we started going back and forth. We didn't have a studio. It
Oh,
wasn't it wasn't adequate to what we were used to. So
yeah.
we would go back to LA to work. We're going back
Wow.
and forth. It's like, and Pebbles like, LA, what the fuck we moved here for? We're going to LA every damn weekend. Why we moved down here? We're going back and forth. And so we, you know, ended up finding a studio. It wasn't really adequate. So we gotta build a studio. And Kenny in LA just made it happen
Yeah.
and built the studio beneath LA's guest house, became Studio La
Boy.
Coco. And we did so many great records out of there. And once we did that, we were okay. We were okay because everybody came. Johnny Gill came, Bobby came, everybody came to work, and they ended up loving Atlanta because nobody had been down here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they discovered this whole property value. You can get a big old mansion for like 500 grand, live like a
Right.
king. So everybody came except Michael Jackson. He's the only one that wouldn't come to work. We had to go back and work with
He
Michael.
was already so established out there, I
But
could
it was
see
just
why.
Mike. It was no. It was Michael gets his way. Michael gets what Michael wants.
Yeah. He
So we
doesn't
gave
have to
him
go
two
anywhere.
weeks. No, no, and we went. We gave him 2 weeks. Kenny and Ella
Hmm.
said we're going to give him 2 weeks, and but everybody else came. They loved Atlanta, and there's so many
Yeah.
people here now. I mean, there's so many people here. It's a great town, great music town. I'm
Hmm.
still here. Dallas is here. Jermaine is still here. Uh, you know, everybody's kind of kind of still around.
Yeah.
Not overly active. I retired. I don't really work on music anymore. So, but everybody's still here. You know, and so yeah, it's been great for me. It was great for us. It was fun time. I mean, we set up shop. It was so much fun. Kids would be downstairs. We couldn't even get to our car without kids. Can I sing for you? Can I give you a tape? Can I do? Okay, go ahead, kids, sing. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just it was buzzing. It was really buzz. It was a great time because we were a magnet. Nobody had to go to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Everybody could drive to Atlanta. Left Eye
Yeah.
drove from Philadelphia.
Right.
It,
Bob and
it was
Tim.
there you
Yeah.
go. It was easy access. So we were like the magnet, and it was wild. It was so much fun. There's so much damn talent. I mean, as you know, we signed off these people. But they were here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just didn't have the outlet. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that's all it was. But they were already here. That talent was here. You
Yeah.
know, it was right here in
So
the city.
much.
Oh my
And it was
God.
a magnet. I mean, I'm in the Bay Area, and I remember when Too Short moved to Atlanta. We were like,
Hmm.
Atlanta. And then it
Right.
made sense,
It made
you know?
sense.
Yeah.
Hmm. But that was a fun time too, discovering that young talent. I remember TLC being at LA's house in the morning, eating cereal and just trying Pebbles trying to figure it out. And it just was so much fun. It was so raw and just great talented people. And
Hmm.
Usher was hanging around, hadn't really found his way, but he was around. And it was a crazy time. That was a really fun time.
You really
Really fun
built an
time.
empire from the ground there.
It kind of was, but I tell people the talent was here though.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
here.
but
It
I mean
just it just
to
needed
get
it
out
just
there and
needed an
not even have
outlet.
a studio.
Oh man, that was, and we were kind of nervous because damn, maybe we messed up.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have stayed in LA. But once the studio was built and the records started to come out of the studio,
Hmm.
we were good. We were good. It only lasted for a while. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like I said, there was no plan to come to Atlanta. It was just a shit. I don't know. LA and Kenny flew down here and then came back, said, pack your stuff. It's like, okay, wherever we're
Yeah.
going, I don't care. I'll go. And so that was it. That was kind of, and it was a good time. It was a good, it was a really good time. It's just so
Yeah.
much music and Dallas started happening. He did a great job with TLC and
Hmm.
Jermaine had Escape and, Crisscross and he was doing a great job. And then, Organized Noise with Rico and, Pat and man, Sleepy Brown. They were great. It was like,
Yeah.
and there wasn't any camaraderie. Everybody was supportive of everybody. Jermaine was like, hey, I need a song for Escape. Dallas called me, hey, you got a song for Monica? I go, I'll have one, and
Yeah.
why I love you so much. Quick. Because Dallas, the studio was next door. We didn't even know it for months. Like actually next door. It was my
Fantastic.
it was my engineer. We kept hearing something. And we figured out it was the bass coming from under the ground. And Dallas was next door because they'd be cranking over there,
Yeah.
you know. And so we all supported each other. It was a friendly camaraderie of musicians and producers. And I saw an interview with Dallas where Ti was, interviewing. He goes, back in the day, did you guys have any beef? And he named us all. He goes, Dallas goes, no, we supported each other.
Yeah.
We loved what everybody was doing, and we used each other. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? If Dallas hadn't have been on TLC, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Dallas drove that. We did Baby, Baby, Baby. That was our contribution. you
Man.
know. But Dallas he had his finger on that crap, man. He did a great job with TLC. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun times, man. Really fun.
Yeah, I love that, every good mission has to overcome doubt at some
Hmm.
point. And then when
Yeah.
you reach that crest and you make it over the hill, if you have some momentum, and especially if you have, a community that can come
Hmm.
together.
Great community. Everybody supported LaFace Records. Everybody.
Hmm.
It was off the charts. It was literally just, I mean, I wouldn't even go to the office sometimes because you go up there, it was crazy. It was people crawling. And I'm not the office dude. LA was the office guy.
Yeah.
Kenny and I'd rather be at the house writing. But I'd go up there sometime. I go, I got to get out of here. It's too much going on up here. But that was the company was thriving. It was a good thing,
Thriving.
but it was
Yeah.
just, I
Buzzing.
mean, buzzing, people bringing talent in and auditioning, and I could say it was a really fun time and a productive time, a really
Yeah.
good time. Yeah. I wish it could have lasted forever, but that's the way that it happens sometimes. But I wish it could have lasted. There was still, I think, a good 5 to 10 more years that LaFace could have thrived, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it was cool.
Wow.
A lot of good things came out of it. If you look at the LaFace tree and all the things that filtered down from it,
Yes.
it's like I love sports. It's like the Bill Belichick tree.
Right. Yeah.
You filter those coaches down, see where
Or
they
the
came
Bill Walsh
from,
tree.
or the Bill Walsh tree, exactly, the
Yeah.
49ers, absolutely. So if you look at the LaFace tree
Yeah.
up here with all the producers, with Dallas, Jermaine, myself, Organized Noise, and keep going to the acts, Toni
Yeah.
Braxton, Usher, and then the things that they did, it's incredible. It's really incredible. Yeah, fun time.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So as a retired man, it's really weird to hear you say you're retired, and I get
Yeah,
it, and you deserve it. I mean, all that hardware hanging behind you, you absolutely deserve it. But
did a lot of work. It kind of, to me, it just kind of evolved. Music changes, as you know,
mhm,
and pretty much like it just changes. The phone stops ringing. Go, okay, I guess I retired. Nobody calling me. So kind of just, and I was okay with it because I've done well in my life and my career.
yeah,
Um, and I said, okay, well, I'm cool. I'm good. So, okay. And I didn't want to chase projects. I didn't
yeah,
want to be the old dude trying to be, you know what I mean? Something that
trying
I'm
to
not.
chase it
I know,
down. Yeah,
yeah, I know what I do. And I never did that kind of thing for money. And I said, I'm kind of cool. I think when I turn 65, I think I'm just going to be done. And every now and then after seven calls, I love after seven. They're like my brothers.
hmm,
And I did a record with Kenny Lattimore that I really loved a couple of years
okay,
ago because I love working with Kenny. It's just like to work with him. It's just fun.
yeah,
So other than that, I tell people I'm retired until Kenny calls.
huh.
You know.
So okay,
So
as a retired musician, because it's not like the music leaves you.
oh
Uh,
no, it's there, man. It'll
yeah,
always be there. I'll sit down at the grand. I got a grand piano upstairs every now and I'll just sit down and tinker, but I don't record. I don't do any of that. I have no interest in talent. I tell people don't bring me anything. Now some close people will send me something. I'll be like, okay, well, wow, she sounds really good. Who's singing? Oh, that's AI. I'm going, what?
come
I said, I'm
on,
not I'm not critiquing no AI music. And that's my policy. If they say, can I send you something? I go, as long as it's not AI.
yeah,
I'm not going to critique that. I don't know about it. I don't have an interest. It sounds good, but if it's AI, then it's not real to me.
yeah, and
It's
it
it
doesn't
it
it doesn't deserve your critique.
I feel it doesn't. Not that
I
I'm
mean,
some whatever, but for me, what am I? So I said, okay, can I meet this artist?
yeah,
Can I shake their hand? You know, can I
yeah,
tell them to sing this riff like this and not like that? You just do it and put it in a machine, and this is what it spits out. And I get that. That's where technology is, and people are having some success. And I know Timbaland's doing some things and some other people. I personally have no interest at all. None. Not, I don't care how good the song is.
yeah,
If it's AI, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to critique it. And like I said, for me and Kenny I, the most proud thing that I love is all this music that we've done behind me. We worked.
yeah.
No auto tune. We worked. And people say, well, what'd y'all do with I said, if Toni Braxton didn't sound good that day, I'll say, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll get it tomorrow. They go,
Mm,
really? Go, yeah, we keep working on it till we get it right. And that's what I'm most proud of is every record that didn't exist. I know we worked for it. We worked for that vocal. We worked for that whatever it was, we worked. And I'm most proud of that. If I hear songs on the radio, I go, you know what? That's a good record. That's a really good record. I like that record. I remember where we were and the whole process. So I'm good, man. I'm good. I don't hate on the way things are done. I know there's a transition and things change. I'm okay with that. I just don't want to be involved in it in any kind of way. You know, I'm as old school as they come. That's how
Well,
that's how I look at it.
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to ask you for one more word because that's a great way to close that out. Our guest today,
Cool.
everybody, on the Break It Down show, specifically on the series for Getting the Gig, has been the silent partner. I will say the great Daryl Simmons. Daryl, thank you so much for
Thank you, man.
amazing
I appreciate it.
lessons, man.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. Thank you for the love. I really appreciate that. Not, I don't do many of these, so I always appreciate it when somebody has appreciated, what I do. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. I'm going to hit this stop button and then stick around for just 1 second.
Okay.